Good morning, good morning. How is everybody? And if you have black screens, at least come off mute and say hi, so I know that you're there. Say hello.
Hey, how are you doing? I'm coming off now. I'm just eating. I'm sorry. It should be off in like 5 minutes.
No problem. Good morning, Jason. Who else wants to say good morning this morning? This is the interactive part. How you show up here is how you show up everywhere.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kristen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right. Who else wants to say good morning? Those who have not been on a training with me, I don't mind silence. This class is for you, and interaction is huge and important because that's how you grow and learn. So be prepared. Anybody else want to say hello? Good morning, Tyler. All right, we're gonna get going. Lisa's our chat moderator, so if you have any questions, please let us know. Lisa, tell us a little bit about you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Stuckey. I am out of Keller Williams Metro in Bedford, New Hampshire. I have been with Keller Williams for just about 7 years now. I've been married for 27 years and I have 2 boys who are 23 and 21.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Any questions at all? Pop it in the chat and Lisa will track that for us and we're gonna get started. I will tell you that whenever the weather gets icky in Maine, my internet doesn't play nice. So if I freeze, I will be back. Like I was trying to share screen earlier and it wasn't playing nice, but it decided to play nice now. So, all right, here we go. This is the interactive part. What did you learn over the last couple of days in Ignite? Please share. What'd you hear? What'd you hear? I need at least one before I move on. Edward, help me out. I know you've been on some sessions.
The importance of lead generation and cultivating your business.
Absolutely. What else? Someone else. What else have you heard? One more. You could do it.
Hey, this is Amanda.
Good morning, Amanda. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm
You
good.
I'm sorry, I missed like the first very set. You're asking us what we've heard so far in the series?
Yes.
Okay, I heard follow the process
Yes.
and use the tools.
Yes. I love that. Absolutely. I was on a call yesterday and one of the points are, where do we hide as humans? Like, and this isn't just specific to real estate, this is across the board, right? We hide in making things more complex than it has to be, right? If we just take action, things are a little bit simpler. So talk to me about what actions have you taken since you started Ignite?
I've been using that worksheet to help keep me accountable and keep record of what I'm doing each day.
Absolutely. Awesome. And are you finding that you're more productive because you've done that?
100%.
Absolutely. Brian, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Tell me, what have you learned? What have you taken action on?
Well, multiple things, but one of the things I've taken action on, because I'm laid up at my house right now, and I just got my cast removed yesterday, but I still got to do 3 more weeks in a walking boot. But one of the action steps that I took is I created a Facebook account, both personal and business, which I deleted my Facebook completely around 3 years ago because
Yep.
everybody was arguing about politics all day long.
Yep.
So when I go on to Facebook now, my mindset is I'm not going to jump into anything controversial because I want to kind of just stay neutral on all the crap that's irrelevant, like politics, and just keep myself open and available to anybody, irregardless of what they're preaching on Facebook, so to speak.
Absolutely. Because here's the deal. At the end of the day, you don't have to have the same belief systems. You just have to have the same ethics when it comes to, real estate and supporting one another. I love that. Anyone else have something they want to share? One more. We can do it. Anybody? Let me ask you this. How many, raise your hand, put it in the chat. How many of you have been actively working the success system after every class? You don't have to hit the numbers, but actually be taking action. No one on the call is doing the success system? I can't believe that. All right, I got a couple of, all right, thank you. Thank you for interacting with me. Because at the end of the day, if you just come to this class and you listen and you don't take action, then all I've done is entertain you. And I'm not a great entertainer. And I'm not a fan of entertaining. So my goal is we finish the next, we have 7 more sessions after this one. And everybody should be taking action at this point. And if you have questions or concerns, or you don't know something, reach out to your productivity coach, your mentor. You can reach out to me. We're here to support you and get you moving forward. All right, let's get this going. So today we're going to talk a little bit about establishing the mindset, identifying the goals. We're going to be devising the plan. We're going to do some recapping, and we're going to do daily systems. Hey, Lisa, my internet is going in and out. So if I hop out, I'm going to have you hop in. Okay. I just want you to be prepared for it. Benefit of being in Maine when it's storming. So Gary Keller says in Shift, know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, focus, and action. And I look at this and I say, what's your goal? What thoughts do you have to have around that goal? What actions do you have to take? And what do you need to succeed, right? And I would almost add an adjective in front of that. And that adjective that I would add in front of that is exciting. What is your exciting goal, right? What is the goal that if you hit that goal, you would stand in the middle of the street and do a happy dance, right? You would set up a party and you would really celebrate. So when you're looking at what real estate is going to do for you and your business and your personal life, which is even more important than the business, what is that exciting goal? Like, why are you doing this? Somebody share with me. I will stand in the middle of the street and do a happy dance if the following happens by the end of the year. What is that? What is that following? What is that? Somebody help me out.
If I'm able to move out by the end of the year.
So if you were able to move out by the end of the year, you would stand in the middle of the street, do a happy dance.
Absolutely.
Okay. Who else?
If I close 10 deals this year, I will do a happy dance in the middle of the street.
All right. Who else?
If I close one deal, I'll do a happy dance.
Okay. What does closing one deal do for you personally, right? Like, and when I think of that statement, there's confidence. It's proof that I can accomplish and do what I desire to do, right? There's all these things. So whatever that is, it's really important. I want to hear a few more. There's 16 of us on this call. I really want to hear what will cause you to have a happy dance.
For me, it's once the sales commission reaches what I made in my previous career and I'm past that, then I know I've at least come to the level of where I was before and then to surpass that. So that's it for me.
That's your happy dance? Who else? Who else has a happy dance?
Are you strictly talking business or personal?
Well, I'm thinking when it comes to personal, I'm assuming that you would have to make a certain amount of money in your business to accomplish that personal. So if that is what is the personal, I would absolutely share that.
Mine has nothing to do with that.
Okay. So when it comes to business, what would you do a happy dance around?
I just told you, if I do 10 transactions or closings or whatever the terminology is, I will do a happy dance in the middle of the street.
And those 10 transactions, none of that affects what you want to personally accomplish?
No, my personal thing is my doctor looked me in the eye yesterday and told me there's still a chance he has to amputate my foot. So if I save my foot, or if my foot is saved, whatever the wording is, and I don't lose my foot, I'll
Yeah.
run up and down the street and dance and yell and scream.
100%, right? So, and then what I relate back to the business on that is health, right? People that can afford to take care of their health are more likely to be happy, right? So, and not saying this has anything to do with you, Brian. However, making the desired income, it affects your health, it affects your mindset, it affects your relationships, it affects, your spirituality, whatever that is for you, right? It affects all of those areas. So having a business that produces the money you desire is important. So when you look at this, that clarity or that goal should be exciting. The thinking around it should be exciting. The acting around it should be exciting. You should be excited when you succeed, right? And many people aren't. So I want you to come to this conversation with, this is going to excite me, because if it doesn't excite you, you're less likely to take action. So, the last 4 sessions, we've been talking about leads versus contacts, right? And I know the last time I was on and working with you guys, what's the difference between a lead and a contact? And the cheat sheet is right on the screen, so you don't even have to think. What's the difference between a lead and a contact?
The contact strengthens existing relationships and the lead just form new relationships.
Right. So when you look at a lead, it might be somebody that you were referred to. It might be a Facebook ad. It might be you had an open house that you went to and you don't have a really great relationship yet, right? A contact is family, friends, people that know you, like you, and want to see you succeed and refer you, right? And those leads very much become contacts if you stay in touch with them and you strengthen that relationship. That makes sense? So now when we look at this, when we focus on the lead piece, it's really the fact that you have the right to have the conversation because they signed up for something. It's one way. And then the contact is you have the right to have a two-way conversation, which means they've agreed to stay in connection with you. It's value-based. It's what you're delivering. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how do we deliver value and stay in connection with them. So focus on building relationships and take market share. What do you think the connection is between building relationships and taking market share? What's the connection?
So the more relationships you have, the more likely you are to succeed and get referrals from
Right.
those people. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the more market share you have, the more credibility you get. So building relationships in that area becomes a little bit easier. So they intertwine very much together. So today's conversation is tomorrow's transaction, right? So the way I look at this is you have a database of 201 people. Maybe 3 to 4 people in that 200 are thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. However, who do they know, right? Because if our expectation is those 201 people are going to deliver a real estate transaction personally, that's not really realistic. And this is where some people get stuck because they think, well, I called and I asked them if they're thinking of buying or selling real estate, and they told me, I'm not going to buy or sell for 7 years. So why am I calling them back? Well, if you were on one of the previous sessions with me, what did I say? Every person in your database knows how many people that are thinking about real estate. Who remembers that number?
Looks like Ryan knows. In the
What did
chat.
Ryan say? What did he say?
Ryan says 7.
Right, exactly. So every one person in your database, they will talk to someone or know someone that is thinking of buying or selling real estate in the next year. And there's 7 of them. So if you have 200 people in your database, what is 7 times 200, right? The problem is we don't stay in relationship and build a strong relationship. So when they think of real estate, they think of us. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So if we're going to fund our big life and make this happen, we need to know that the actions we take today, we may not get a result 30, 60, 90 days down the road. Does that make sense? When we look at lead generation, right? And I'm going to go back because I just want to finish this. When you think of lead generation, you have your database, which is your first priority. Then you have lead generation, which is your second priority. And then you have the education and training, which is your third priority. That second priority, lead generation, works twofold. It gets you now business and it gets people that add you to your database because you constantly need to be growing your database, if that makes sense. So Gary says in Shift, once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. Either way, once you've met them, you put them in your database and stay in touch with them forever. Now, this is where I love to ask for all of the objections. Why wouldn't this work for you? Why would you not stay in touch with them forever? Share with me all of your limiting beliefs. What's going to prevent you from staying in touch with them forever?
Because it takes effort.
Takes effort. What else?
Possibly like annoying them or something.
Because you think you're going to annoy them. Okay. What else?
If I found out they did business through somebody else.
Okay. What else? Anybody else have a limiting belief around staying in touch with them forever? Those are some good ones. So when we look at any of those limiting beliefs, number one, if somebody doesn't work with you, there could be many reasons for that, right? So essentially, Brian, if somebody didn't work with me, I would ask them, hey, I appreciate the fact, I understand that many people know people in real estate. What made you choose them over me? And a lot of times is because they don't want to do business with friends and family because they think that relationship would break. So how can you not allow that relationship to break, right? And if you're constantly sharing with them different stories and conversations, they're going to trust you a little bit more. A lot of times, people that don't work with you because they're friends, they don't want you to know their personal financial business. They don't want to ruin the relationship. There's all these different reasons. So as you're communicating with them over the course of years, some of the stuff you're going to share with them is going to eliminate that, that mindset. And we'll talk about that a little bit further. So we're going to identify the goals, right? Goal number 1 is to lead generate. Goal number 2 is to lead, follow up, and convert. And then we're going to move into the transaction. The lead generation, we can all create leads. Where we fall down is the follow-up, right? I don't know if your fortune is in the follow-up. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. When we don't follow up, we don't have the ability to convert. So just because you got a lead doesn't mean that that's where you stop. You actually have to build the trust in the relationship. So convert contacts to close business. Let me ask you this. I'm going to stop share for a minute. Raise your hand if you've ever signed up for something on the internet or through a text message. Just like somebody said, sign up for your free copy of, right? How many of you have done that once? How many of you have done that less than 5 times? Right? How many of you have done it 10 times? Right? I can't tell you how many things, if you go into my email, all of those spam emails that I get is because at some point in time in my life, I signed up for a free coupon. I signed up for a free script. I signed up for free this, free that. And now I have all of these people reaching out to me because they want to do business with me. What makes what we do any different than that? Like if they sign up for something, at some point they had interest in it. Does that make sense? So if you put a social media ad out there that said, hey, sign up to have an equity analysis on your home, and they fill out the form, at some point they had interest in that. Does that make sense? So very rarely is it the first contact that they immediately do business with you. You know, you have to follow up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 3 years before they sign up, right? Because what's the cool thing about the internet right now? You can literally do all the research you need and find out all the information years before you need to take action. And people that are thinking about buying real estate, they start their search 2-3 years before. So that's the reason why we have to lead generate every day, because we're building that pipeline. And those that have been on calls with me before, you know, if you want to do 24 transactions, or somebody said 10 transactions, in order to do 10 transactions, do you have a pipeline of about a 30, right? How quickly can you build your pipeline to 30? Because at the end of the day, a third are going to work with you, a third are going to change their mind, and a third are going to work with another agent. And I know living in Maine, we're a very seasonal second home market, and I know a lot of New England states are that way. We have people that come research and say, oh, I want to move to Maine, and then they move to Colorado, right? It just happens. So not everybody, they think it's a great idea, and yet it's not. Here's, for those that have been on with me before, how quickly do they forget that we're in real estate? What's the days? 11 days, right? So every 11 days they start forgetting that you're thinking about, that you're a real estate agent, and that they should think about you when they think about real estate. The other part of that conversation, if they're not thinking of buying or selling real estate in the next 6 months, what are you offering them? When we think about what are we offering them, you know, I used to, when I was actively selling, I would 4th of July, I would send out the fireworks, where you can find fireworks. For my homeowners, I would send monthly home maintenance tips. I would send this is going on in your neighborhood. I would just really send them stuff that if they're not thinking of real estate, I'm still offering something of value. Does that make sense? All right, share my screen again. All right, so stay top of mind. What does this say to you? What do you see here? When it says real estate mind sharing portion, number of agents interviewed before choosing an agent. Tell me what you see. What do you see?
Shows you only have one shot to convert that that lead to a close, because most of them only have one agent. So if they're only interviewing one agent, then you have to make your first interaction really stick.
Right. So buyers and sellers, if you look at this 26%, 25% interview more than one, but most buyers and sellers only interview one agent. So what kind of impression are you leaving with them? And then after you leave that impression, what activities are you doing to stay top of mind? So every 11 days, you're sending them something. We're going to dive into that during this class, but I just want you to keep thinking about that. You're not saying, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to sell? How can I help you? That's not the message. That's not how you stay top of mind. How you stay top of mind is, what are you delivering of value? So leverage mind share for referral business, right? The more, the more people that know that you're in real estate and trust you and like you, the more likely those folks are going to be to refer you. And if you stay in touch with them in some fashion, they're not going to forget you. So let me ask you this. How many of you have asked a friend for a doctor recommendation? How many of you asked a friend for a hairstylist or for a restaurant to go to, right? Whenever I go down to Massachusetts, the first question I ask, where should I eat this today, right? Because I love food. I'm a foodie. So where should I go eat? I don't go online and research restaurants near me. I literally ask the people around me, where should I go eat? Who should I get to cut my hair? Whatever I need. I needed to talk about snow. I needed a new plow guy. I went and I asked the people that I know in the area, who should I hire for a plow guy? So if we do that as people, the people that are looking for real estate, they probably do that as well. Has the internet ever lied to you?
That is a really good point, what you just said about referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like I do that with everything else in my life, they're doing that when they're going to buy or sell.
Right. Our mindset it could be a blessing or a curse, right? Because we tell ourselves all of these limiting beliefs that prevent us from taking action. We're very fearful. They don't want to hear from me. I'm going to be bothering them. Why should I do that? I'm a newer agent, right? All of these limiting beliefs, and all we have to do is build relationships. And I make it sound so simple. And yet, is it simple and we make it more complicated? Just build relationships. And building relationships, and I've said this before to you guys, it's not, hey, this is Tiffany, this is a business call. The reason for my call is, who do you know that's thinking of buying or selling real estate, right? That's not how this works. This is, hey, we haven't talked in a while. How's the family doing? I saw on Facebook your son graduated high school. Congratulations. Where's he going to school, right? How's work going? You're constantly just building relationships. So those calls build relationships. And then the follow-ups to that are the conversations, an email. If your kid, let's just say I have a friend who her son is in Vermont at school. Well, being proactive, if it's time for me to send something out, sending something out, sharing something about maybe an event that's going on in Vermont, or a great restaurant, or a tip about, delivering, I don't know, like sending cookies to your student at school. Like there's all kinds of cool things you could do. And at the bottom of those messages, if you're sending it via text or email, or direct message, at the bottom, it has your name and that you're a real estate agent. And yet the message you delivered had nothing to do about real estate, but at the bottom of the email, it has your signature. So there's ways to do this. It's just a matter of thinking about it. There's another NAR stat from 2021. I don't have the 2022 stat yet, that says 47% of buyers used an agent that were referred to them that were first-time home buyers. So first-time home buyers, 57% of the first-time home buyers asked for a referral. 47% of buyers asked for a referral, right? Of those 47%, 57% of them were first-time home buyers. So are you talking about tips and tidbits? Like I would say, hey, do you have someone in your life thinking about buying their first home? I read this great article about X, right? If you went to Shift into Overthrive a couple of weeks ago, there's all those mortgage hacks. And if you don't have them, we'll be doing a class on it, or ask your leadership and they can send you the PowerPoint. But an objection that we hear a lot is, oh, I'm not going to buy right now because interest rates are so high. Well, there's a bunch of mortgage hacks to keep your interest rate from being so high. And if we solve that problem for somebody, they'll probably buy a house from us. So delivering value is a huge part of this, and it gives you the leverage so that you have mind share. All right, share some ahas. This is where you talk at me. You heard nothing?
The large percentage of first-time home buyers that ask for a referral is an aha.
Yeah, absolutely. 57%.
Yeah,
Here.
almost makes you want to do first-time home buyer seminars like quarterly.
Well, side note, since you said that, what I would do, I would partner up with a local mortgage company that you trust, and I would set up weekly, monthly home buyer seminars that mortgage person does for you. So they do it. You provide the space. The two of you do the marketing, and once a month, you invite people to it. The first one's the hardest one. Once you set up the first one, then it's just set it and forget it and repeat, right? It's very simple, but absolutely. And I would title them different things. So you think you can't buy in today's market because of interest rates? Come to this class to learn about the mortgage hacks to get you into a house at a reasonable interest rate. That would be my first one. My second one would be, with spring market coming, learn the tips and tidbits to beat your competition also looking for a home, right? Like these are all, and if you did, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. I'm going to do this, or once a month at 6 p.m. I'm going to do this, right? What's the goal? How are you going to make it happen? What are the actions? And what does success look like?
What does mortgage hacks mean? I've never heard that expression.
So essentially right now, interest rates are somewhere between 6 and 7, depending on the day, right? There are ways to buy down the interest rates or to pay your loan quicker so that you're not paying that extreme amount of interest. The cool thing is, and again, and I'm going to share. So this is, if you went to Shift into Overthrive, and if you didn't, no problem. Just talk to your leadership. They all got a copy of it. Mortgage Hacks Playbook. So in here, it literally walks, you don't even have to create the content. The content's been created for you, right? So if you don't have this, my email is tiffanyhampton@kw.com. Email me personally or go to your leadership and we'll get you a copy of it. So Brian, I would get a copy of that book, read it, and then take action.
I don't have any books of any kind other than when I was going to, I haven't been to the office in 3 weeks because my leg's been in a cast, but
We can email it to you.
the only book that I do have is The One Thing.
Good.
But I will get all that stuff. I should be able to get to the office within the next 2 weeks, so I'll be able to get caught up on stuff, on physical stuff.
Yeah, and Brian, honestly, I would have him email. It's great reading while you're laid up. Read it, you can read it over your computer. And as a region, so those that have been on the call with me, I'm the KW New England productivity coach, the regional coach. So I'm delivering all of this stuff to your market centers, and KWRI is sharing with your market centers. So we're going to be doing classes on this. If you need it sooner, reach out to your leadership, reach out to me, and we'll definitely get it to you. All right, couple more ahas. What'd you hear? Come on. I don't want to be entertainment. Share. What'd you hear?
Always stay in contact.
Always stay in contact. Give me one more. What'd you hear?
Come up with original ideas to help your contacts stay engaged with
Right.
what you're sending to them.
And I would probably say they don't really need to be original ideas, rip off and duplicate. Right? So take this mortgage hack book, read the pages. I bet if I haven't looked at it in a couple of days, but I bet I could find 30 or 40 different conversations around it. All right. We're going to keep going. So the next is devise the plan, right? So what's the plan? We know from previous sessions that it takes 19 contacts to connect with them, right? And we look at that as 4 touches, which is the phone calls, 12 touches, which is the monthly email or newsletter, market report or video, 2 touches that are promotional, right? And then 1 touch, which is an annual event, a party, a movie screening, or a get together. And I would almost argue, to Tyler's point, that 1 touch, that could be some type of presentation, right? To convert them into business, we just add on 4 telephone calls, the 26 touches, the two touches, which are events, and then the promotional stuff, right? And then 1 to cement is a high value touch that solidifies the relationship. So what could be a high value touch? First thing that pops into my head is solving a problem for them that takes the stress out of their world. And it doesn't just need to be real estate. What if they needed a plumber and they spent like 5 hours on the phone trying to find a plumber, and you found them their plumber that they needed, right? That would solidify a relationship. Anyone have anything else that they could think of? Guys are so interactive today. All right. So craft the message, use the 6 connection questions, which we're going to go over. Who are they? What do they want or need to do? Where do they want or need to do it? Why do they want to need or do it? When do they want to need or do it? And how do they plan to do it? Those are the 6 connection questions. You solve those problems and they're yours, right? And then you're going to include a MOFR. And MOFR is make an offer for immediate response. Here's an answer. You know, a MOFR is something along the lines of, this awesome house just came on the market. If you're looking for a home in this neighborhood, call me right away. Interest rates are high. Have you thought about ways to buy down your mortgage rate so you can purchase a property right now? Thinking of selling? Schedule a free staging consultation. Interested in knowing what equity is in your house? Reach out, right? These are just different ways to create offers for immediate response. Do you guys have any ideas around offers that could be made for immediate response? Because this is where we win, right? This is how we get the lead opportunities. And it's always a question.
For me, like, I guess this sort of has to do with what we're talking about, but when I cold call for sell by owners, I help them. I mean, like, I have a few buyers who might be interested, and it's not a lie, like I do, you know, but the plus out of it is I might be able to help them if my buyer's interested, or it's just a connection where I could possibly get the listing as well.
Right. You know, and when I think of for sale by owners, and exactly, like, my script around for sale by owners is, you know, congratulations on being a real estate agent and selling your own home. Are you willing to work with a buyer agent? I'd love to come preview your home and see if it matches the needs for any of our buyers. When I use the word our, it's not just me, and it makes it less of a lie, because I'm sure someone in your market center has a buyer for that property, right? And then when I get there, like, what questions can you ask? And staying on the world of for sale by owner, like, what questions can you ask a for sale by owner in person?
The most recent one I did is I just tried to feel them out, sort of how long the property's been on the market, because on Zillow it was on for like 100 days.
Yep.
And he had cleared it up a little bit. He had said that technically there was like a month there or two, a month and a half, I guess he said, where it wasn't on the market. But even that, it's still been on a long time. I tried to feel out what kind of, you know, interest he had in the property. And he said, I asked him that, and he goes, interest rates, what are interest? I'm like, interest, like people that are interested in the property. I asked that, and just general questions about the property, just so that I could get as much information as possible about it. You know, like septic and when the house was built and simple stuff like that when I'm at the meeting with them, just to get a better idea of where their head's at.
Yep.
And if they are even seem open to the possibility of working with a real estate agent to list their house.
Yep. We're going to stay on MOFRs a little bit, because I think that this is where, like, knowledge is power. This is where you guys getting the information, you're more likely to use it. So living in the for sale by owner, you know, one of the MOFRs I would deliver is, if I could show you how to net more money and pay me a commission, would you be willing to meet? Right? If another question I ask is, I appreciate the fact that you're selling your home for sale by owner. Do you have a safety plan in place to make sure that you're only allowing qualified buyers into the house? If I could share my plan with you, would you be willing to just spend 5 minutes, show me through the house to see if I have a buyer, and I'll share my safety plan? How I win with for sale by owners is I ask them, do you know who you're allowing in the house? And if there's a family involved, I use that even more. It's important that you know who's walking through your house, because your wife, your significant other, your children, your mother, your father, your brother, whomever it is, your best friend, they live in that house with you as well. And we want to make sure you're all safe. There are times that people pose as buyers to case out the house, right? Because they want to rob it after the fact. Do you have do you have a pre-approval process to make sure you're not letting those people into the house? These are all ways to have conversations to get you into that appointment and deliver value so that when they think of listing with an agent, they think of you. Most for sale by owners will try it for 4 to 8 weeks and then they will hire you, if you're the one that they choose. Here's another script that I use with for sale by owners is I love the fact that you're going for sale by owner, and I really hope you sell the house. My goal is if you choose to choose a realtor, I'm the realtor you choose, right? So this is what I'm going to do. Every Monday, I'm going to call you and I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Question number 1 is, did your property go under contract? And I'm going to say, I really, truly hope it did. I'm going to say, are you ready to list with an agent? And then, are you ready to list with me? So first question is, did you put your property under contract? Are you ready to list with an agent? Are you ready to list with me? And I do that Monday follow-up, because here's the deal. I want to show that to them that I'm consistent and I am going to follow and do what I say I'm going to do. Because most for sale by owners go for sale. Most, not all. Most for sale by owners go for sale by owner because they had a bad experience with the real estate agent and they would rather do it themselves. So me following up and doing that Monday conversation and being like, hey, congratulations. I saw you had an open house this weekend. Did your home go under contract? Oh, I'm sorry. I heard it didn't. Are you ready to list with an agent? Are you ready to list with me? Right? 3 questions. And I set the tone up that I say every Monday I'm going to do that. If I don't do it on Monday, that's my character and my word, right? Expireds. That's like for sale by owners is now business. Expireds are now business, right? So for expireds, what are some mofers and conversations? Like, what's the objections that you're going to hear around expireds? I'm going to list it myself. I'm going to use the same agent. I changed my mind, I'm going to rent it, or I'm going to wait, right? So what are the objections for I'm going to list it myself, right? How do you handle that objection? Tell me more. What's important about listing it yourself this time around, right? If they say I'm going to list it with the same agent, what are they going to do different this time that they didn't do last time? Right? If they're going to wait, what was important about selling your home and moving now? Where were you going to go? How soon did you want to be there? Right? Remember getting back into the emotion, why they're doing what they're doing. If they're going to rent it, what happens if the tenants destroy your house and it costs you $25,000 to repair? Have you thought about, what happens if they stop paying rent? Do you have a contingency plan? And then if I could show you how we can get your home sold this time around so you're not disappointed, would that be worth meeting? Right? So how do you ask great questions to get them to move forward? That makes sense? What do you guys hear in the mofers?
Can you repeat the third one? Objection. So listing with the same agent is what will they do different? Renting is what if the tenants destroyed the house? What was the one you said before that?
So we're gonna wait. We're gonna list it ourselves. We're gonna use the same agent. We're gonna rent it. Which objection handler did you want?
Wait and list ourselves.
Okay, so list ourselves. I would ask great questions. Some of the questions I would ask around, I understand that you're disappointed because your last agent didn't do the job. What resources do you have to list the house, right? if I could come over and share with you the 180 steps that you need to take, would that be valuable to you? And when I share those 180 steps, I'm going to walk through, do you have a plan for this? Do you have a plan for that? And then hopefully what will happen is they'll be like, I don't want to touch this, and they'll work with you, right? Because at the end of the day, how can I support you to reach your goals? And it's always supporting them to reach their goals with showing them the pros and cons without making them feel, and I'm going to use the word stupid. We don't want to make them feel stupid or incapable or not, we don't want them to feel that way. We just want to ask great questions. We don't want to talk at people. Like when I get on this call with you, I have no desire to talk at you. I want you to have a conversation back with me, right? So when we're working with our clients, it should be the same way. And my hope is through teaching this way, you're learning that it's asking great questions, right? And sometimes I have to talk a lot more because the audience doesn't really want to talk back to me. No different with clients. Sometimes they're really nervous. They're scared of making that next move, and we have to pry the information out of them, right? We pry the information out of our future clients by asking great questions. So every time you want to make a statement, how do you turn that into a question? So for example, staging. I can bring in a stager to walk through the house and tell you everything to make this house show the best it could show to get the highest price, right? That would be a statement that I would make to you. If I flip that around and I say, would it be beneficial or valuable to you to have a stager come through the house? What do you think that stager would do that would impact the sale? Because I want them to self-discover, because I don't want to sell them. I want them to self-discover and just use me. Does that make sense?
Yep. Are you out of the Bedford office?
No, I'm out of Portland.
Does the Bedford office use the same stager for everybody?
I don't know how this.
I'm in Bedford.
All right, can you answer that question?
Sure, I'm in Bedford. No, are a few, I guess, that are more common, more popular to be used, but everyone doesn't use the same person.
And
But I
Brian,
have someone that I can share with you, Brian, if you like.
and here's my other thought on that, Brian, is we all need, part of building our database is what vendors do we have in our database? I would interview 4 or 5 stagers.
Nice.
Put them in your database. Now you have 4 or 5 stagers and you can refer business back and forth.
Would you
Right?
say the same thing with the photographer too?
100%. Yep. I always like to have 3 or 4 vendors in my pocket, especially when it comes to like plumbers and electricians, and because people get busy and I don't know how people have found ways people have gone out on their own to build their own businesses. So there's a huge deficit in trades, right? So having 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever the number is, will only support you. So if you get a listing tomorrow and your first photographer can't fit you in, you have 2 or 3 other people to choose. And again, you're sharing the wealth. And if you build the right relationships, when they know people that are thinking of buying or selling real estate, do you have a strong enough relationship for them that they choose you when they want to refer somebody? 100%. So does that help everybody? Go ahead.
It's Lisa.
Hi.
Guys, I wanted to share something in regards to vendors and building relationships. Something that I did several years ago in my neighborhood was I created a list of vendors and put them together in alphabetical order and gave them out to my entire neighborhood, door knocking with them. And so that was my value add. But I give them all to clients as well. When we close on a house, buyers need them, right? So they'll get lists of painters, plumbers, landscapers, whatever it is. It's been a great way to build that relationship and that trust. I get text messages from neighbors. Hey, Lisa, can you send me an electrician? Anything like that. So that's just another value add. If you're considering door knocking, but you're not sure what to say, that's something that you have to offer them. I want you to think of me as the neighborhood concierge for contractors that I have at my fingertips. Here you go. Here's a spreadsheet for you.
Yeah.
It's been really great to do that. And again, that you build that trust and that relationship, just speaking of contractor referrals.
And if
Would
you don't have that, sorry, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, would you be able to get those vendors through people at the Bedford office and just trust that they're gonna give you their top 2 or 3? So that, cause like, I don't know a single plumber, I don't know a single electrician. So if I could get like somebody at the office to give me their 2 or 3 best and I just use them.
Let me ask you
Of
this.
course.
Well, yes, you could do that, but let me ask you this. What would it look like if you scheduled a phone call, a face-to-face or whatever it is, however you want to do it, and built the relationship instead of borrowing somebody else's relationship, right? Because part of this conversation is how do we build the relationship? And Lisa, when you said that about the neighborhood, you know what that triggered me? If I'm brand new and this is my first time I'm door knocking a neighborhood and it's my neighborhood, I would knock on that door and say, hey, I'm the local real estate agent. I'm working on building my referral database so that I could provide my clients with different vendors. Do you or someone in your family or a friend own a business that you would like us to refer to our clients? And then I would trigger, do you know a plumber? Do you know an electrician? Because then what you do, and this is brilliant, Lisa, I could go down a tangent on this, because what you could do then is you could turn around and say, so neighbor A gives me an electrician. I pick up the phone, I call that electrician, I say, hey, neighbor A, whatever their name is, John Smith turned around and gave me your name and said, you're a great electrician. I'm a real estate agent. We're always looking for electricians to do small projects when we have homes for sale. Would it be okay if I shared your information? Right? Like, how awesome is that? So if you don't have a database right now, that's a great way to talk to people, Lisa.
Yeah, exactly right, Tiffany. It's been wonderful. When I did it through my neighborhood, I did not realize that, I had an electrician 3 streets over. So when I add the list, I will put, this person lives at, 123 Main Street. It's your neighbor, right? So people want to use their neighbors and people that they know that are local and that they trust. So they are happy to be added to that list. And it's been one of the better things that I've done. I think that just again, a value add. Yeah, it helps my business, but I'm offering something of value, and to take it to a new level too. My whole neighborhood has a Facebook page, and I bet some of your neighborhoods do as well. That you don't even know. And you can go on there and put a post saying that you have this to offer people, and very short and sweet posts that you'd be happy to help if anybody needs anything. And then you can just take that conversation to the next level when someone reaches out.
Yeah. And Brian, the strengthen the relationship part of the conversation is definitely go to agents in the market center, ask them who do they use, go to your neighbors, ask them who do they use, go to your database, ask them who they use, then pick up the phone, make the phone call, and build your relationship with them. If you just pick up the phone when there's a need and there's no relationship built, and Lisa, you could probably attest to this, if they don't know you, and they have 5 other people that they have great relationships with, those 5 other people are probably going to get on the schedule before you, a stranger, is going to get on the schedule. So having that relationship is huge. It's all about strengthening the relationship. Obviously, you have to get their information and their name first. And then how do you build the relationship? What are you offering them? So, and we'll dive deeper as the months and years go on that you're in business. But, that's a big thing. So we're going to spend the next 10 minutes really developing what does our 36 touch plan look like. So I'm not going to put you into breakout rooms because there's a lot of black screens and I don't know if you're connected, if you're not on screen. So let's just talk about what does this 36 touch plan look like? We know it's 1 call a quarter, so it's 4 phone calls. What else can we add to that plan of staying into connection with people? And this is your plan, so I really want you to come from you and not me, because if it's your ideas, you're more likely to put it into play. So we know we're going to
This has nothing,
Go ahead.
this has nothing to do with the 10-5-1 social media, right?
Nothing to do with that. Nope.
Okay.
A smart plan, neighborhood nurture.
So the
Well,
neighborhood nurture,
okay.
which is, so that's 12 because it's 1 a month. So we have 4 phone calls, the monthly nurture. What else can you add to it? What does everybody have that they celebrate?
Birthday.
Birthdays, right?
Holidays.
Holidays. My one thing on holidays, I never did normal holidays because everybody does normal holidays. I did the ridiculous holidays like National Cheeseburger Day, National Chocolate Chip Day, Cookie Day, right? For National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, I would give everybody my chocolate chip cookie recipe because they all desire it. For whatever reason, they love my cookies. So I would share my recipe with them, if it was National Coffee Day, for my A group, I would give them a small $5 gift card to a coffee shop, right? Or give them a recipe to make a really cool Starbucks drink from home, right? So don't necessarily look at the big holidays because sometimes the big holidays, your message gets lost in the noise. My least favorite touch plan is the set your clocks ahead, set your clocks back. Like they automatically get the delete button because everybody does that. So I try to be different. So Google weird holidays. There's a holiday for every day, right? There's a National Coloring Day. For National Coloring Day, I literally give everybody a coloring sheet. I like the adult ones that have like powerful words and messages.
When you say give everyone, who are the people you're giving them to?
My people in my database.
Every single person? What if you've got 2,000 people in your database?
Well, I make it really, so like the coloring sheet, that's an email with an attachment. The cookie recipe is an email with the cookie recipe, right? I try to make sure I do things that are the $5 gift card. Those are only for my A people. Those are for the people that are 100%. And my inner circle, you have your inner circle, which is your A group. You have that next level, right? You don't treat everybody equally. And you could do this all for free. You don't have to give anything tangible away. You just have to give something of value away. Like National Cheeseburger Day. There are some really awesome cheeseburger recipes that you could share, right? Like it doesn't have to cost you anything. It's time or money. And at the beginning of your business, it's time over money. What else? The other thing is if you're doing whether they're in your database or they're a neighborhood home anniversary, you don't have to be the one that sold them the house to celebrate their home anniversary, right? So if you have 50 people in your database that own a home, you could pull either off the MLS or public record and find out when their anniversary date is. And you can send them a, hey, congratulations. I noticed that you've been in your house for 5 years or whatever it is. Here's a market analysis so you could see how much value you've increased since you purchased the house, right? Again, time, no money involved in that, just time. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
I think that market analysis showing them from the year before till now is genius, because just the people that I'm talking, like my father-in-law wants to sell his house. He's been wanting to sell for like six years. So he's just one of those people, but he would love to see that every year. Like that would be something that would definitely get his attention.
Yep. Here's the other thing. You can go into the MLS and you could pull up all the homes of people that purchased a house. And there's the homestead exemptions. Do any of you guys, I know in Maine, we have a homestead exemption. Some of our states have, you can literally go to the town website and give them a homestead exemption and say, hey, I saw that you purchased, I was in the MLS doing research. I noticed that you purchased your house a year ago. I want to make sure that you fill out the form for your homestead exemption. It saves on your taxes, right? Or whatever your states do, right? Just different ways to add value. But absolutely, doing a market analysis year over year, with the caveat on the bottom that this is a general, this isn't specific to your property because I haven't walked through, but this is an overall market analysis. Absolutely. Here's another thing. Let's say that a lot of investors that own multifamilies, or you go into the public records and you find investors. I used to send investors a CMA once a year on all of their homes. Say, hey, just wanted to update on what the values are. If you're ever thinking about liquidating or adding to your inventory, please reach out to me. Right? That takes time and a stamp and an envelope, but worth it. If you don't have a heavy database of sphere of influence, that's how you create a database. Just being creative that way. What did you guys hear?
So I heard that, all the different ways that you can touch people. Like I love the holiday one, and looking up different holidays rather than like the normal Christmas and Thanksgiving. I really like that idea.
Yep. What actions are you going to take? Because again, I'm not here to entertain you. So what actions are you going to take? I'm going to live here for a minute, because if you don't have an action item, we have a problem.
Come on, who's gonna break the seal?
Well, I'm gonna do what you said. I'm gonna interview multiple electricians, multiple plumbers, let them know that I'm in the trade now, because this is new for me, so they might kind of be like, not have a problem working with somebody that's new. Maybe they had an issue with somebody that isn't, so.
I love it. Good job, Brian. Who else? Somebody else.
Just thinking about doing the door knocking with some good info that people might want to have for their house.
Absolutely. Ryan said finding free things that are valuable to the client. Love that. Like, as much as we're in winter, spring is around the corner. What would it look like if you created a spring maintenance checklist and then called a few vendors and said, hey, I'm sending this out into my entire database in my neighborhood. Would you be willing to give them a coupon? And then create a small coupon at the end of the email. Doesn't cost you anything. It's just a conversation. Tyler, are you going to run home buyer seminars?
Yeah, the team I'm working with out of our market center, we're putting some together now. We're gonna do 2 in the northern part of the state and 2 in the southern or more central part. So it's something we've been thinking about and talking about for a little while now. We're
Yeah.
actually doing our first one next week, so.
If you haven't learned, this is a contact sport. Right? You win with contacts. Give me one more.
I'm meeting with a lender on Tuesday. I'm hopefully gonna make a business relationship. She's not the lender that like too many people work with, like the main one, because he's super busy. So
Yep.
we're gonna maybe I'm gonna hopefully talk about maybe doing a few like social media videos with her and maybe even an event, like a first time home buyer type thing.
Perfect. Anyone else have something to share? Everybody have an idea? Shake head, thumbs up.
I have a question.
Yes.
We have, well, at my office in Bedford, we have Guild Mortgage right in the building. Their office is in the same building as ours. Do they ever get to the point that they're so busy that I should have a safety valve with somebody else?
I always like to have 3 opportunities in every area. So three attorneys, 3 mortgage companies, 3 photographers. I always like the number 3. I never get in trouble that way.
Does the pecking order stay the same every deal?
Well, every transaction is different and what mortgage companies deliver. So in Maine, and I'm just going to use Maine as an example. In Maine, I have banks, I have credit unions, I have mortgage brokers, and I have loan officers. I have one relationship with each group. And then we have private lenders, hard money lenders, right? So I have relationships with a hard money lender, with a bank, with the credit union, with the mortgage broker, and with the loan officer. And depending on the client, a bank may be better than a loan officer, a hard money lender may be better than all of them because they're like, so having those different tools will support my clients and it makes me a better resource.
Do they ever refer you?
If I build a strong enough relationship, absolutely. I have one lender who gave me 4 or 5 deals. I had to build the relationship though, because you have to keep in mind lenders work with hundreds of agents, right?
That's why I asked the question, because they're dealing with literally hundreds of people, hundreds of, agents.
But the question, number one, and here's a little secret. How many agents actually ask their lender for referrals? And I tell you, it's very small.
Shh, don't tell everybody.
It's very small because we just don't do it. Like, and here's the other piece of it, right? You could partner with the lender and do, if you're a social person online, you can do a live TikTok that has a lender and a agent, and then people can hop in and ask real estate questions. You could do a Facebook Live. You could do an in-person webinar, seminar. You could do an online webinar, right? Like there's all kinds of different ways. So when you find that relationship that's really, really strong, combine it together. So then that way, if you do a home buyer seminar and 30 people show up, the 2 of you are going to work together on that. So there's
At a lender or a title company to sponsor those events for you.
absolutely. All right, so now we're going to talk about goal setting to the now, right? And this is where we have this conversation all the time. I gave you a bunch of stuff. What action are you going to take today? Right? If you have 200 people in your database and you put them on a 36 touch, that is 7,200 touches over the course of 1 year. So how does creating this plan support your big why? Right? The reason I started this call asking you what is exciting at the end of the year is because if you don't know that, you're not gonna set the goal. And honestly, if here's the other part of it. If you're not ready to take action and build a smart plan right now, your goal is too small. Goal is way too small. So how do we make sure we build up a big enough goal? Raise of hand, put it in the chat. Put thumbs up. How many of you know how to use smart plans in Command?
I don't even know how to use command at all.
All right, well, I know you have a Market Center tech trainer. So Brian, I would schedule a one-on-one via Zoom.
You
And-
talking about Tony?
I don't know, am I talking about Tony, Lisa? Who is it?
No, so we have paper and we have Kim Johnstone.
Okay,
So the Tony Wallace is the productivity coach.
okay. So get into,
Reach out to Kim Johnstone.
Kim Johnson is your person, Brian.
Kim, I'm sorry, Kim Johnson?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go write this down.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm a pen and paper person and I'm a tech person. So if you look right here on my wall, I have the big Post-it. So what I would do after this call, and we end this call 30 minutes earlier, so you guys can take action, is what does that touch plan look like? And write it on a piece of paper. I don't care if you use a big piece of paper, if you use a piece of paper in your notepad, if you write it on a Google form in your computer, what does your 36 touch plan look like? And we know it's 4 conversations. We know it's 12 monthly nurture reports if they're thinking of buying in an area, live in an area, or own in an area. What are those other 12 touches? And we hit on that a little bit. You know, the fun holidays, added value as far as spring market plans. What are those? So 12 of those, birthdays, anniversaries. What's that plan going to look like? Okay, so that's your next step. I gotta go back to my screen. Please hold. All right. My favorite slide. How has your thinking changed since you got on the call today? And then what ideas and mindsets are new? This is where you share.
Mine would be to not only learn this information, but to apply the information.
Absolutely, Brian. I love that. Because education without action is entertainment, 100%.
Ryan has a great share in the chat room. He says, we need to get uncomfortable to be successful.
100%.
Good job, Ryan.
And stop making everything complex. Baby step it, right? So if the big plan, if let's just say your one goal is, I'm going to send out 4 weird holidays. So top of your page, 4 weird holidays. Step 1, pick the holidays. Step 2, what's the action around the holidays? Step 3, what's the implementation around the holidays, right? Take action. I love it. So what do you feel differently about, and what was meaningful about today's session?
I liked in the beginning when we were in the establishing mindset part, and you talked about goals, mindset, actions, and what do you need to succeed, how you added the exciting adjective. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if I'm not excited, I mean, and those that have been on call, planning is procrastination. I'm a huge procrastinator because I love to plan. But if I'm wicked excited about something and that end game goal is huge, I'm less likely to live in planning. And I'm more likely to take action, 100%. What else?
I like the part about asking certain questions that will lead people to want to work with you.
Yeah, don't tell. I can't tell you how many times I told myself right out of a listing. I told myself right out of a buyer. So I told them too much information. What else?
Build relationships.
Build relationships. Yep. People do want to be in relationship. I think people want to be in relationship more today than ever before. What else? Last one is, what tools, models, systems will you use and how will they make you accountable? Anybody? What tools, systems, models?
The smart plans.
Yep. What I love about the smart plans is if you add tasks, all you have to do is open up command and your homepage will tell you all the tasks for the day. Absolutely. All right.
So
And-
when you're in command, it lays out the plan for the year for you?
If you set it up, absolutely. You set it up and it reminds you. That's the cool thing, right? Like, what's the model? What's the system? What's the tool? And then the actions come from the tools, models, and systems. 100%. I think once you meet with your MCTT, your market center tech trainer, your eyes are going to open up on what you could do with that. And don't wait until you're walking again, do a Zoom. Because while you're going through this healing process, you have plenty of time to create stuff. And remember, you're creating the models that are already in place. You're not being creative. You're just taking action on what's already in place. You can become creative after the systems are set up.
Most of the people that I know, I have their name and their phone number.
Yep.
How do I go from having that to having their birthday, their email, their address? How do you get that information without them feeling like, why would you need to know all this?
So what I usually say, like, let's just say use birthday, for example. Well, two things. Number one, your market center tech trainers have a system where you could get an inner circle form filled out. And if you don't know what that is, join us on the Monday KW New England growth call at 2:00 because we walk through that and your market center tech trainer knows about it. So you can use the inner circle form. Hey, it's important for my inner circle to know about the market, what's coming up, and any contests or information I want to share with them. Would you be willing to fill out this form? And there's a whole script for that. Here's the other thing. I used to say all the time, if Facebook went away tomorrow or whatever, I want to be able to stay in touch with you. Would you be willing to share your information? I also say one of my goals in 2023 is to send out more birthday cards. I'd love to add you to that list. What's your birthday? What's your mailing address? What's your email? And then follow up and actually send out the birthday cards. If you just collect the information and then sell them, that's not building a relationship. If you collect the information and you deliver value, that's building the relationship. That makes sense?
Great stuff. Oh, that was powerful.
All right. What else did you guys hear? Okay. So this last part, we're going to talk about the success system. Now, every day, I know when I'm teaching this class, I end it 30 minutes early, so you guys can take action on the success system. So how many of you have been doing this? Don't answer that question, rhetorical. Who could share a win from taking action on the daily success system? And a win does not mean you got a listing appointment or a buyer appointment. A win can be anything. This is the action part. Who's been taking action?
I wrote notes, handwritten notes. to some people I haven't talked to in a while. I still need to get stamps, but they're written.
Good job.
I followed up on a ton of leads from an open house that I did a couple weeks back.
Okay.
Only one of them was interested in me like helping them look for a home, and she's still represented. So I don't think it's going to lead anywhere, but it's good practice.
Took the action.
Yeah.
Who else?
Jackson, no card. Judy had raised her hand as well.
Yeah, I had sent out note cards with my business card in it as well. And I've also reached out to a few people that are going to go onto my Facebook page and write reviews.
Okay.
So I was with Redfin, and when I left, I had like 30 reviews and they totally deleted all of them. So I've reached out to a lot of my past buyers and sellers and asking them for reviews.
Awesome.
I have a magnet coming that I made with my face and number on it and everything that has to do with like cooking and stuff. That'll
Mhm.
hopefully stay on their fridge for longer than a schedule.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's my, keep remembering there's marketing and prospecting, right? If you send out those magnets, follow it up with a phone call or a door knock. Hey, I just wanted to make sure you got my magnet. And then ask the question, who else in your world should have one of these magnets,
That's awesome advice.
right? You know, when I don't know why we do this to ourselves, and we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it as well. I'm 25 years in the business, so I'm over it at this point. But when I was sitting in your shoes, I was very much the same way. It was very difficult for me to pick up the phone and make a phone call. The minute you break through that, your business is going to take off. The minute you break through the ability of taking action, picking up the phone and calling and saying, how are you? We talked about the Ford conversation, right? How are you? How's the family? How's business? Have any great plans planned for the near future? You know, what are your future goals around real estate? Right? Make it a conversation. This is a conversation. If we get rid of the word lead generation and change it to the word conversation, that's why it says on there, it doesn't say lead generation, it says conversations. You just need to talk about real estate a little bit. If you say, how's work going? How's business? They're going to ask you the same question back. And I'm sure I've said this on one of these sessions that I've taught before. When they say, how's things going with you? You know, I set this goal in 2023 for the first quarter to help 15 families with their real estate needs. Is there anybody in your life that I could help? Did that feel attacking, confrontational, right? Because I did it in Ford. Hey, it's Tiffany. How are you? How's the family? How's work going, right? This is one-sided. They're going to ask you questions back. And if they don't, say, you know, one of my goals, and I'm hoping you can help me, one of my goals is to help 15 families this year or 2 families this quarter. Is there anybody in your life that mentioned real estate that I should talk to? We get in trouble when we live in our head. That's why we start every one of these calls with mindset. All right.
I have a question.
Yep.
It says add 10 contacts a day. Let's pretend that you've exhausted your phone, you've exhausted your Facebook, you've exhausted all of your resources of all the people that you know. How do you continue to add 10 contacts a day at that point in time, which I'm not at yet?
So there's a memory jogger form, which Brian, I'll find your email. Actually, I'll put it on the KW New England Growth Call Facebook page, and I'll put it on the Ignite Facebook page. There's a memory jogger form and there's an ultimate memory jogger form. I would utilize both of those. I would also, one cheat sheet that I did when I was in real estate at the very beginning was I would have every letter of the alphabet, and then I would find a business in that with that letter. So like for A, I would do accountant, right? So, and what other business starts with A, right? What businesses start with B? What businesses start with C? And then I would go and I would find those businesses and pick up the phone and make the phone call and start building new relationships. Remember, priority number 1 is your sphere of influence. Priority number 2 is the lead generation. The lead generation is to either add people to your database that you want to know and be in relationship with, or they're now business. I would door knock. I would go to, once you're healed, I would do open houses for sale by owners. I would call agents in the market center and say, hey, do you have any old leads that you're not following up on that I could follow up? I'm willing to pay you a referral fee. Because a commission of something with the referral fee is better than a commission of nothing, right? So who are your resources? I know in Maine, there's 813,000 pieces of real estate. And that was the last time I checked. There's new construction, so that adds up. So there are 813,000 homeowners in the state of Maine. There are 101.1 million people that live in the state of Maine. To get my goal of, let's just say 30, I really only need to have a conversation with 3,000 of those people. Like I need to just have 3,000 people that I talk to, about 850 of them. And that will get me 30 transactions. So you're going to add people.
Do you consider door knocking adding people?
Absolutely, as long as I get their information. All right. Last minute ahas, thoughts, actions.
I have a question about this course that we're doing right now.
Yep.
I got a January link for this. Is this a 1 month long course and that's why it's a January link and then that's it? The course is over?
Yep, and if you want to, yeah, it's 20 days. If you want to watch, I think the last day ends on February 1st because we had to take 2 days off, one for Martin Luther King and the other was for the shift into Overthrive and then New Year's holiday. So if you want to watch the recordings that are on the Keller Williams New England YouTube page. And I would take this course whenever it's available because you'll be a different person every time you take this class.
Of course, because as you grow, you look at it differently and you hear it differently.
100%.
And as you apply it, you hear it differently.
100%. All right, 2 more and then I'm going to let you go free.
It's a contact sport. The more contacts you make, the better you are converting to closed transactions.
Absolutely. One more.
I'll share a way that I was adding contacts. So I joined all the Facebook pages, places that I visit, local towns, anything like that. And just this morning, there was a woman who commented, said that she recently fired up her housekeeping business again. So I just sent her a friendly message, introduced myself, and just pretty much asked her how we could help each other grow through referrals.
Yep. And I would one up that with, can I pick up the phone and make a phone call? All right. I will be on next week, Monday. So I will see you Monday. And I think I'm on Thursday as well. We're almost done. This class ends, I think February 1st is the last day of this class. So keep finishing strong. You should be more confident. Be fearless, even when you want to be fearful. And I know it's easier said than done. And remember, first call, one of the people that love you and care about you. Last call, one of the people that love and care about you. Everything in the middle, who cares what happens? You got to get 100 no's to get a couple of yeses. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Reach out to me if you need anything.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.